Welcome back. Well, the rising cost of motor insurance could force many young people off the roads, according to a poll by Auto Trader.
But how expensive is it for young people to insure their first car? Well, we used an insurance comparison website, searching as a 17-year-old student trying to insure a 13-year-old Vauxhall Corsa, and these were the results.
Shockingly, the first result was for over £10,000 a year, roughly £900 a month.
The second quote came in at more than £15,000.
And unbelievably, the third quote was over £16,600 a year. Staggering.
Extraordinary, isn't it? And with many parents still being used as mum and dad cabs, the rising cost of car insurance is an issue which is affecting many of us.
Can't afford a car at £4 grand, let alone insurance as well. And £8 grand on a car when you start to drive, that's nuts. That is nuts.
It's kind of like just takes away the option of driving for some people, which isn't really fair.
They can't afford it. They want to go to university as well. It's just not really an option.
My daughter starts her first driving lesson tomorrow, and I'm hoping she's going to be able to drive and let me off being mum's taxi for a bit. But yeah, I'm quite concerned about insurance premiums and so on.
You're right to be. You need a lot of money. We're joined now by motoring expert Quentin Willson and 17-year-old driver Harry Hume, who passed his test just last year. Welcome to you both. Harry, give us some indication of what you went through trying to get insurance. What sort of prices were you charged?
I've been trying for the last 6 months now, ever since I was 16, trying to do it, and I've got quotes up to £13,000 now. The lowest I've got is £3 grand. And
to drive what?
To drive a 1.2 Renault Clio.
Which is worth about...
Which I bought it for £430.
Staggering.
About 4 months ago.
So where does that leave you?
Basically, my dad's having to ferry me to and from work all the time, and just stuck, basically.
Could you not go on your dad's policy?
Nope. Even if when I first got my car, my dad was going to drive it and be the main driver, and I was going to use it once or twice a week. But eventually, they've got to put me, sorry, as the main driver.
Because you're using it and you need it.
But I'm only using it once a week, but because I'm the higher risk, they have to put me as the main driver.
The other problem with that is if you stay as a named driver on a policy, by the time you're 25, you haven't got a record for no claims.
Exactly.
So you've got to spend a fortune then.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, for young people like yourself, what are young people like yourselves doing? I mean, particularly those who live in rural areas and need transport.
Well, a lot of people's parents pay for it, but I actually want to insure my own car. I've bought my own car. I'd like to do it myself, so I've got it. But I've tried everything, and lowest quote I got was £3 grand, as I said, and they want that in a lump sum cash.
Wow.
They want that, and who has that in the bank at my age?
Well, okay, let's look at the other side of it first. I suspect you might rather agree with the dilemma he's in, or realise it's ridiculous. But insurance companies have to cover their costs, don't they? And maybe we shouldn't care if people like Harry can't drive, because if there's such high risk, is it not a bad thing? They're not on the roads anyway, is it?
They are a high risk. I mean, 25% of all of the injury accidents in this segment is 17 to 24. So guys like Harry do have issues, but that's stopping an entire generation from driving. I mean, this is a social issue. Which is bad
because of what?
Well, it's bad because if you're in a remote rural area, it's going to completely compromise your job prospects. You're having problems with your job.
Big time.
And with the cost of learning to drive and buying cars and fuel and everything, we are looking at a 20% fall in people taking driving tests. Now, that's historically low.
Why has it got so much worse over the last 2 or 3 years?
Because of the expense, because of the rising price of fuel, because of the insurance, and with all the fraud on the insurance and the cash for crash, insurance premiums have gone up and up and up, and your generation are casualties of this, and we've got to do something about it.
But hang on, it's not just his generation. I've got a 25-year-old son, and he was I mean, the best he could get was £2,500, which is more than the value of the car. It's a 7-year-old Ford Focus, you know?
It is nuts.
And he struggled to get that. He really did.
Completely nuts. So we've got to say, look, how can we stop tomorrow's people? These are the wealth creators. These are the people who are going to carry on making society better. How can we get them driving, give them this mobility? And
I suppose one of the concerns as well is the fact that it might encourage people to take the risk of driving without insurance, which you don't mention their names, but you know, people that have done that.
I know a lot of people that do it, and I've made sure I've locked my car on the drive. I wouldn't ever want to be.
And the fine even try is less than it is to insure the car.
That's what people think.
250, 300 quid. Again, stupid. So we need government legislation, and I'd like to see driving in schools. from 12 upwards. So by the time they come out of school, they know how to drive. So it's not going to cost them as much, and also there'll be better insurance risks. We've got to grapple with this. Otherwise, 1 million kids are going to go into careers without knowing how to drive.
Which they need to do. Well, I wish you well.
Thank you.
Hope your transport problems are sorted.
Thank you very much.
Can continue to provide the lifts.
Yeah, hopefully still get to work and back.
Excellent. Good to see you both.
Thanks very much indeed. Well, the headlines now you're waking up to this morning.